At family dinner, Mom announced, "When we're gone, the house and savings go to the grandkids who show up." "That means your sisters." My daughter whispers, "Should we stop coming then?" I smiled and stopped arguing. Months later at the lawyer's office, the screen showed one beneficiary, my invisible kid, because my grandpa. I heard it and felt something unclenching me at the same time. My name is Malcolm. I'm 38. I fix engines for a living. Oil under the nails, coffee in the thermos, a busted radio in the bay playing classic rock that cuts out every time the air compressor kicks on. In my family, I'm the background one, the fixer. If something rattles, I'm the guy under the table turning a wrench while everyone else keeps eating. We were at Sunday dinner, the one I get guilt into missing if I ever grab an extra shift. Mom had her announcement's voice on. Dad stared at his plate like the peas might organize themselves. My sister Cara and her husband had their 2 boys on iPads with the sound off, thumbs going like they were training for the Olympics. My daughter June, 12, sat next to me, tapping the salt shaker in a quiet rhythm only I noticed. Mom raised her glass. "When we're gone," she said, looking past me at the hypothetical horizon. "The house and the savings go to the grandkids who show up." Silence, then a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "That means Karis," she added. Light laugh like it was a joke that landed perfectly. I wasn't dramatic, but I heard the subtext, so loud it made my MERS throb. Translation: June and I don't count. We don't post enough photos from brunch. We don't stay till midnight. We don't perform family. Carol leaned back. All faux humility. "Oh, Mom," she said, "don't make it about us. It's about who's present." Mom said, eyes landing on my work shirt with a stitch name patch. "Who shows up?" I almost laughed. 412 Saturdays under cars at the shop. 5 winters plowing their driveway before dawn. Showing up was my hobby. June nudged me. Under the table, her shoe found mine. She whispered, "Should we stop coming then?" I felt heat climb my neck. Not anger, just that old familiar weight. The mechanic inside me wanted to list parts. Years, dollars, miles. I wanted to remind Mom that June had spent last Christmas Eve on the living room floor building a Lego garage with Grandpa, while Cara posted from a ski condo. I wanted to say who shows up and slide a stack of receipts across the table. Instead, I smiled at June and took my hand off the grenade. "Eat your green beans," I said gently. Dad cleared his throat. "Let's not." Mom waved him off. "I'm just saying, Malcolm. We don't want any confusion later. Cara's boys are always here. They help. They care." June didn't look up. "I care," she said small. Carrara's husband coughed into his napkin like an applause cue. The boys kept scrolling. I chewed slowly and watched the gravy congeal and told myself this was just another comment in a lifetime of them. I didn't argue. I didn't take the bait. I finished washing dishes after everyone had to run and drove June home in my old F-150 with the soft rattle in the passenger door I still hadn't fixed because it reminded me of Grandpa's truck. At a red light, June asked, "Do you think Grandma meant it?" "I think," I said, choosing words like bolts out of a tray. "Grandma likes saying things out loud so she can hear herself think." June nodded, watching the raindrops race on the glass. I kept my eyes on the road and said nothing else. But that sentence, "The house and the savings go to the grandkids who show up," sat in the cab with us, buckled in, quiet as a socket set. That night, I pulled a cardboard file box from the top shelf of my closet and set it on the kitchen table like a small engine I'd been pretending wasn't misfiring. I wasn't going to fight. I told myself I was just going to look. Let me back up. I grew up in a 2-bedroom ranch with a yard big enough for Dad's smoker and a patch of clover that never died. Cara got the room with the bigger window. I got the couch for a year while Dad finished the basement. It's still studs and a single dangling bulb. Here's the thing. I didn't mind being the fixer. I liked knowing how things worked. Grandpa Ray taught me. He was a carpenter with hands like killed dried oak and a grin that made you think of Saturday morning cartoons. I spent more time in his garage than anywhere. He said machines don't lie. If something's wrong, it tells you if you listen. Mom liked people who sparkled. Cara sparkled. pageants, choir solos, the kind of report cards you post on Facebook with a caption like blessed. I brought home alternators and perfect bowling games. My wins didn't fit on the mantle, and that was fine until it wasn't. 3 quick scenes. When I was 19, Cara Civic died on 295 at midnight. I drove 30M with a tow strap and a flashlight between my teeth, lay in slush under her bumper, and got her home. Mom said, "Thank God for AAA," and handed Cara a blanket. AAA never came. I didn't correct her. When I was 26, Dad lost ours. Mortgage got scary. I took on 2 extra shifts and loaned them $850 a month for a year. Mom called it a family blessing. On Christmas, Cara opened an espresso machine. I got socks with little wrenches on them. When June was born, I texted a photo to the family chat. Cara heart reacted and launched into planning my daughter's brand. Mom wrote, "So happy." 4 months later, when Cara announced a puppy, Mom sent 16 messages and a voice memo. I kept showing up because I believed family is what you do, not what you post. Then the house, Dad's back went out. Payments slipped. I could have said, "Sell," but the house was Grandpa Ray's. He built the front steps himself and carved his initials on the underside of the banister. Mom liked to say, "This house stays in the family." I like that sentence, the way it sounded in my head when I pushed the mower in an August heat wave. "Help us refinance," Mom asked 5 years ago. "We'll put you on the deed. You'll save the house. We'll make it right." Numbers $329 87412. What the mortgage was after the RFI closed. I know because I wrote it at the top of a legal pad the day we sat with Brenda, the loan officer with the lemon printed blouse. I signed as co-borrower so they'd qualify. Brenda said, "You're a good son." Mom squeezed my arm. I rock. For 60 months, I paid exactly $5,612 every 4 weeks, $1,886 mortgage draft, $726 taxes/insurance bulked in a separate envelope if the escrow ran short. I have the Zelle screenshots. I have the transfers. I even have the times I ran cash down to the bank when the AC hiccuped and the teller wrote, "Thank you, M," on the receipt like we were friends. 5 years winter tires, I skipped a vacation June, and I didn't take a stay in the family Mom repeated like a prayer 2 summers ago. I fixed a leak in the upstairs bath. When I opened the vanity kick, I found a thick envelope wedged behind a trap not money old mail. The top letter was from the county change of deed notification, the names on the window. And in Robert Whitaker Mom and Dad and Cara Emerson, not mine, I stood in the tiny bathroom with a flashlight and the slow drip of a stubborn PE. Trap and read line after line until the letters squirmed. Gift deed, no. Consideration, record of transfer. I set the envelope on the toilet lid and stared at the tiny black mold spot I'd meant to scrub a year ago. I didn't say a word. That night, I put June to bed and sat at our table with that cardboard file box and started what I later called in my head. The receipts, bank statements, cell exports, screenshots of Mom's texts. "Can you cover this month, kiddo? We're tight." Cara's got the boys' tuition due. Emails from the loan officer. As discussed, Malcolm's name to be added to deed post-closed via quick claim. A calendar reminder I set for myself the week after closing. Notary. Add to deed. Mom rescheduled that notary 3 times. "Then we'll do it next month. Your sister needs to get off work for signatures." It never happened. I printed everything. I made tabs. I labeled a flash drive. I took photos of the underside of the banister and Grandpa's initials and printed those too. It felt important. Something else bothered me. I click you here, but can't place. The house wasn't just a house. It was technically part of the Ray Whitaker Family Trust, a document Grandpa's friend, Mr. Alvarez, the old lawyer with the stubborn tie knot, drafted in 2001 after Grandma died. I remembered because I'd been 12 and Grandpa had asked me to help him scan something fancy. In the file box under a stack of old shop manuals, I found a photocopy Grandpa gave me for safekeeping when he realized I liked keeping screws in their own bins. I read the trust at midnight with a highlighter. Legal language felt like instructions in a different language for an engine I recognized by sound. Then I found it a subsection under distribution of primary residence. I remembered only as a shape on paper years ago. Section 4.7 Maintenance and Preservation Contributor Clause. I circled it and didn't sleep. Subsection 4.7 said in human words that if any descendant by blood made material contributions for not less than 60 consecutive months to preserve the residence from foreclosure, that descendant had the power to appoint the remainder interest to his or her issue or failing that to said descendant. It also said any later transfer or gift could not override the clause. I sat very still. I thought about Mom saying the grandkids who show up. And I thought about June handing Grandpa race screws in order by length at the workbench when she was 5 because she liked the way he said that's my girl. She listens. Kara came by for photos on the porch at golden hour. June came by when the sump pump died. I didn't rush. I went quiet. The next months, I added more to the file. A PDF of the refinance instructions. Brenda emailed. Post close. Add Malcolm to title via quitclaim. I highlighted the sentence. A screenshot of Mom's message. Can you Venmo the insurance shortage? $726. Time-stamped. I annotated it with a pencil like a lunatic on a crime show. A photo of Kara at the housewarming she threw herself when the boys graduated from preschool. The caption in the family chat. Home at Mom's, where the memories are. My daughter is in the background holding a shop rag. Face smudged with graphite from the garage. No likes. I wasn't planning revenge. I was building a diagram. If it had a belt, I would have traced it. Then came Mom's announcement about grandkids who show up. I heard Grandpa's voice in my head. Machines don't lie. Neither documents. It wasn't Christmas or a birthday. It was a Saturday family cleanup day. Mom's idea with a sign-up sheet. Kara texted like she was planning a charity gala. Bring gloves, she added. I brought a box. In the driveway, Dad adjusted his back brace and nodded at me without meeting my eyes. Kara set up a snack table, store cookies, sparkling water, the good napkins. The boys dragged branches for 5 minutes, then vanished. June and I cleaned the gutters. I let the ladder bite into my shoulder. Focus helps. Around noon when Mom declared, let's break for lunch and talk about next steps, I wiped my hands and said one thing. In the voice I use at the shop when I'm about to tell someone their timing chain isn't just noisy. It's 2 hours from catastrophic. Mom smiled like she was already bored. Make it quick. Kara has practiced pickup. I set the cardboard box on the picnic table. Label tabs. Paper stacks. A USB in a small zip bag. What's this? Kara asked laughing like I'd brought show and tell. Receipts? I said. Moaned. Malcolm. If this is about Thanksgiving, it's about the house. I said evenly. Dad's eyes flicked up. I don't yell. I build short sentences. Torque specs for 5 years. I said I paid $329, 87412 in mortgage and shortages. That's 60 months, not missing one. Here are the transfers, drafts, and the times I covered the escrow itself. I slid a color-coded stack forward. Mom didn't take it. Kara glanced like paper give her hives. I was told I'd be on the deed after the Rafi. Brenda's email says so. Your text rescheduled the notary 3 times. Then I found this. I held up the county notice like a damaged gasket. Gift deed to Kara. That's not. Mom started legal. Kara said, arms folded, chin up. Parents can gift. It's our family. We agreed. I'd eventually. Dad said Carrera in the warning voice I hadn't heard since I was a teenager. I didn't look at them. I opened the trust copy and slid out a clipped page. Section 4.7. I said, Maintenance and Preservation Contributor Clause. What? Kara blinked. I read, careful and calm. The way Grandpa taught me to read torque values twice. I pointed to the line with my finger, then slid a printed screenshot from the scanned PDF I'd pulled off my old email. Grandpa's scan I'd helped with at 12. There was a pin, hash, in his handwriting in the margin. It felt like a hand on my shoulder. Any later transfer I read is void against this clause. Mom's smile collapsed like a bad stool. Oh please, she said, that's ancient. Your grandfather put that in to feel important. Dad rubbed his jaw. The lawyer is still alive. I said, Mr. Alvarez. I called and asked if the trust was amended. It wasn't. He remembered Grandpa Ray using the phrase, the one who keeps the lights on. He also remembered this. I tapped another page. The appointee is allowed to appoint the remainder to his or her issue. What does that mean? Kara's voice sharpened. It means, I said, heart steady. I choose who gets the house after Mom and Dad's life estate ends. And because you executed a gift deed, ignoring the clause, I retained that appointment. I filed an appointment with Mr. Alvarez this week. Who? Mom demanded you. I looked at June. She looked at me like I just handed her a headlamp and said, You ready? No, I said to Mom June. The air went quiet in the yard. You've lost it, Kara said brittle. You can't put a child on. Trust law allows a designation to a minor's UTMA trust with a custodian, I said. Clause 4.7 doesn't restrict appointment age. Mom looked at Dad. Robert. Dad kept staring at the paper like it might speak again. Malcolm. Mom said carefully, the way you talk to a customer you're trying to upsell, be reasonable. The house belongs with the grandkids who show up. I asked. I didn't raise my voice. I turned to June, who unclogged the sump with me at 2:00 m last March. She raised a hand, then dropped it, confused, then half smiled. Who helped Grandpa Ray sort screws by size at that workbench the year before he died? I asked, my voice softening. June whispered. Me. This isn't about revenge, I said, turning back to Mom and Kara. This is about closure. Kara scoffed. You think you're some hero for keeping a roof on a house you also live in sometimes? Grow up. We have kids. They need stability. June's fingers found the hem of my jacket and held it. I've retained counsel. I said there will be a letter. The gift deed is void against the clause. The remainder is appointed. Life goes on until it doesn't. That's it. I closed the box. I didn't slam it. I picked it up, nodded to Dad, and walked June to the truck. By the time we hit the first light, my phone started buzzing. Mom, Kara, unknown numbers. Group chat pings, a cousin, then Dad, then Mom again. 27 missed calls by the time we pulled into our driveway. I let the engine idle. The rattle in the passenger door hummed like a metronome. The flood started before we took our boots off. Selfish, Mom wrote. You're ruining the family. You don't even understand what this does to the boys, Kara texted, then followed with 8 voice notes where she alternated between crying and pronouncing legal terms like she was auditioning for a courtroom show. One said, think of the kids twice. Dad texted, call me. Uncle Paul, Bud, think about your mother's health. Aunt Wendy, your sister has enough on her plate. She can't move again. A number I didn't recognize sent. You'll be sorry in court. We'll bury you. Then 5 minutes later, sorry, wrong text meant to send to Kara. Then a thumbs up. By the first night, 42 missed calls, 19 voicemails, 31 texts across 3 threads. By morning, 68, 26, and plus 1 new group added you. I'm not dramatic. I didn't respond. I called the only number I wanted to call, Mr. Alvarez's office, and confirmed receipt of my signed appointment and the custodian designation for June's UTMA trust. He said, good morning, Malcolm, and sounded like he'd been expecting the storm since 2001. He promised to send a letter to the county regarding the void gift deed into Mom and Dad's council of choice once they retained one. I prefer letters, he said. They make people breathe. I hired a tenant-landlord attorney who knew trust intersections and sent a clean, dry notice to Mom and Dad through certified mail. Life estate unchanged, remainder appointed, no immediate impact on possession. No rent demanded, no locks changed. It was the least dramatic version of a sledgehammer. Kara called 17 times in one afternoon. I put my phone face down and changed the oil in a customer's Tacoma. My hands remembered how to be a mechanic. Oil filter off. Gasket checked. Funnel steady. Torque 25 FTLB. Not too much. Wipe check. Breathe. June watched from the step stool at the bay door. I taught her to look for double gasket mistakes. Engines don't forgive pride. I told her most nights I didn't sleep much. Not because I was scared of court. I wasn't, but because the noise in my head sounded like group chat pings. Even when my phone was off, I made tea instead of coffee. After 7, I stopped checking my phone in bed. I put the cardboard file box back in the closet and stacked June's school project on top of it. She's building a birdhouse. The plans are sketched like a blueprint Grandpa would have liked. The family found new angles. June will hate you when she realizes you stole from her cousins. Aunt Wendy wrote, "You're spiteful." Mom wrote, "Your grandfather would be ashamed." Then, an hour later, "Can we talk? Your sister's boys cried themselves to sleep." Then your daughter should not be used as a pawn. Then you always were jealous. Dad finally texted a full sentence. "I didn't know about the clause." Then I'm tired. I sent him one line back. "I'm not taking the house from you." He didn't reply, but he sent a photo the next day of the underside of the banister. Grandpa's initials, the date carved in with a shaky hand. No caption. The lawyer's letters went out. A county clerk responded with a stamp and a sentence longer than a drive shaft. Gift deed recorded on date is void as to the remainder interest by virtue of Section 4.7 of the Ray Whitaker Family Trust. Indexing will reflect life estate only to current possessors. REMA, remainder appointed to UTMA, FBO June Whitaker, custodian Malcolm Whitaker, under instrument date. I read it twice and breathe like I had just torqued a lug nut perfectly. I didn't post anything. Kara posted everything. Screenshots, cropped paragraphs about betrayal. Her face angled in good light with a caption about lessons from pain. People commented with hearts and swords. Cousins pick sides in private. June and I changed little things, not big ones. We ate breakfast at the table instead of standing at the counter. We kept a notebook by the door and wrote down dumb good things about the day. Saw a hawk truck finally passed emissions. Got the stuck jar open first try. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb after 9 and didn't override it. I took June to Grandpa's garage, now half storage and half shrine. We found his old tool rules sign and dusted it. I showed her how to gap a spark plug, and she did it right the first time because she listens. Mom drove by the shop once. I saw her Corolla in the lot through the bay door. She didn't come in. The next day, she texted, "We can fix this if you apologize." I didn't reply. 2 weeks in, Kara's husband called from a number I didn't have saved. "We can buy you out," he said without hello. 50 grand. You walk away. I almost laughed. 50 wouldn't touch 5 years of checks I'd written. Never mind the clause and the trust and the whole point, which wasn't money. "It's not for sale," I said. "And it's not mine. It's appointed to June." "You know what that means?" He huffed. "You're impossible." "Engines don't care about feelings," I said almost kindly. "They care about specs." I hung up and changed the subject in my head to something that mattered. June had a science night at school. She was making a pulley out of a skateboard truck and a shoelace. We tested it with soup cans. The nights got quieter. 82 missed calls turned into 10. 10 into 3. 3 into silence for a morning. Silence felt like a clear test drive on back roads. I slept through the night for the first time in a month and woke up to sunlight instead of a ringtone. Then an email hit from Mr. Alvarez's assistant. "Please confirm attendance at Friday review meeting. All parties invited. Remote option available." I stared at the screen and thought of Mom's sentence about grandkids who show up. I thought of how showing up looks different when you stop trying to be seen. The conference room was plain. Long table, TV, spider speakerphone. Mr. Alvarez had his stubborn tie and cardigan. Mom and Dad on one side. Carrera and her husband on video. Perfect lighting. June sat beside me. Braid neat. Hands in her hoodie. Alvarez clicked the remote. Trust on screen. Section 4.7. He said maintenance and preservation contributor class. Mom tried to cut in. He went on. Calm. The contributor, Mr. Malcolm Whitaker, can appoint the remainder to his issue. He executed that last week. Click my appointment to June's UTMA. Click County Index Life Estate and in Robert Whitaker. Remainder UTMA, FBO June Whitaker. Kara's screen froze, then returned angry. "You're giving a child a house." "No," I said, "Grandpa did." Mom's pen clicked like a warning. Why her? Because she showed up, I said. Silence. The speaker phone humped. Terms are clear, Alvarez said. Life estate stays. No removal, no rent, no sale without custodian consent. Major repairs by agreement. Your father anticipated this. He liked machines. Dad whispered. Ray almost laughing. Kara pivoted. Fine. June can gift to her cousins later. Under the table, June squeezed my hand. I let the quiet stand. The old family system had stalled. Alvarez turned to her. Your great-grandfather wanted to reward the one who kept the lights on. Understand? June nodded. Yes, sir. Malcolm. Mom said, half plea, half warning. I faced them all. I'm not fighting. I'm done being loved only if I don't keep track. The clause exists. The payments exist. We showed up. We still will on our terms. Mom's mouth shook. Holidays? Birthdays? We may come, I said. Or stay home and make stew. You don't grade our love by attendance. Poetic, Kara muttered. Plain, I said, like engines. We stood. Alvarez handed me a manila envelope. Copy of the appointment. Stamped receipt. Heavier than it looked. At the door, Dad reached for my sleeve, stopped. Ray would have liked this, he said. Not the fighting, the plan. Me too, I said. Outside, winter sun on June's face. So, am I a landlord? Not today, I laughed. Today you're a kid whose great-grandpa trusted the right person. We drove off. The passenger door kept its familiar rattle. A month later, 0 group chats. 2 nights a week, we cook something new. 5M loops at dusk for no reason. 1 call from Mom asking if I could fix the porch light. I said, send a work order to the shop, and she did. The file box stays in the closet. I don't count missed calls. I keep boundaries. Here's what I know. You don't have to be the family wallet or bleed time to earn dessert. You can keep the lights on and still turn off your phone at 9 o'clock and sleep. When people ask about revenge, I say, this isn't about revenge. This is about closure. There's a brass key on my ring to Grandpa's workbench. I almost texted a photo, then didn't. A ping from Kara. The boys miss June. Can we schedule something? I set the phone down. Drive. I asked June. She grinned. We took the long road by the river. The door rattled its old song. At home, a voicemail waited. I made tea. I fixed nothing. Tomorrow, we might sand the birdhouse. Maybe change the shop radio. Maybe finally tighten that door. Not because someone asked. Because I want to.